Hello, and thank you for joining us today, everybody. Welcome to the April 2022 Powerapps Community Call. I'm Todd Baginski, and I'm really excited to bring you another fun month of Powerapps goodness. If you haven't joined us before, let me tell you a little bit about what we do on this call. We do this call once a month on the third Wednesday of every month, and it starts at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So that makes our next call on May 18th at 8 a.m. So what do we do in the call? Well, we have a lot of fun in this call. We learn the latest news and community contributions about what's going on in the land of Powerapps. And we meet the product teams behind Powerapps. Sometimes they come on the call and show us the latest things they're working on, and we get like sneak peeks and fun things like that. We do technical deep dives where people from all over the world and Microsoft come together here on the call to show you how they built something awesome with Powerapps and related technologies. And also something we're really proud of on this call is we have a great community chat. So our community chat channel right now in this Teams channel includes Powerapps team members, Microsoft Fast Track recognized solution architects, Powerapps MVPs, Powerapps champions, and Power Addicts. If you're looking for help with Powerapps, you came to the right spot. Just feel free to ask in the chat channel if you have a question. Are you brand new at it and learning how to get started? Are you a seasoned veteran with Powerapps and perhaps you're blocked on something and you need a hand from somebody? Whatever the case is, please feel free to reach out. Everybody here is able to answer your questions and very willing to do so. So I'd like to mention that this month is a little bit different as we welcome the new Powerapps Community Program Manager, David Warner. David and I have been working together for the last few weeks now, and we're really excited to bring you some fun new features on this call. So David, welcome.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you very much. So everybody, really excited to be part of this community. And, you know, as we've been talking, Todd, the community is much broader, right? It's much bigger than just Powerapps. And although I'm taking on the Community Program Manager role for Powerapps, I think that isn't the community all about inclusivity, being collaborative, and including everyone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know it.
Absolutely. So with that, I am super excited to say, let's make some changes immediately. Let's change this call from just Powerapps to Power Platform. Let's include everything under the Power Platform umbrella to make sure that as one big community, we cover the broadest spectrum of information, demonstrations, presenters, and everyone in the community that we could possibly include. What do you think? Does that sound good?
I love the sound of it. And, you know, based on all the different demos and things that we've always shown in the call, there's so much crossover anyway, like you mentioned. It's only natural that we take that next step.
Absolutely. Excellent. So let's talk about some other changes that we're going to make over the next few months to try and help ensure there's even more opportunity for everyone to participate in this call. The community call format's going to shift just a little bit. We're going to round it out into 4 quarters of the hour. We're going to start out with 15 minutes of introductions, what's going on in the community, and then we're going to move into 3 opportunities for presenters to demo awesome stuff that they've been working on in their work or in your passionate area of the community. Now, why are we doing this? Well, there's a few reasons. We want to provide consistency to the community. We want to make sure that you are absolutely able to understand when and where you might want to join the call, knowing that the first 15 minutes, and of course it's a little, slack depending on how often things take, the first 15 minutes will be dedicated to the news. So if you just need to get the news and that's all you have the time to do for the call, in the first 15 minutes it's going to be covered. If you're good on the news and you want to jump in and get the demonstrations and all of the awesome presenters from the community, join 15 minutes in, you're going to be right on time. So we really want to provide this level of consistency to you in the community to ensure that you understand exactly how it's going to run. And then 3 presenting opportunities in the call really widens the opportunity for everyone to get involved. With this now being the Power Platform community call, we absolutely are going to see a wide array of opportunity to cover all of the great technology within that Power Platform space. So we wanted to provide as much opportunity for everyone in the community to get involved that they possibly could. Another opportunity for you, if you want to present on that topic, we have a dedicated form for you to fill out. We want this to be as easy as possible for everyone to get involved from a presentation perspective. So we welcome everyone to present on this call. It doesn't have to be an MVP. don't have to be a super user. You might have just created an app that's being awesomely used in your organization and you want to show it off. We want to see it. We want you to have an opportunity to present. So aka.ms/ppcc demo request will take you to a form where you can fill out all the information you need to provide your interest in being able to provide a demonstration on this call. Again, everyone is welcome. And if you're nervous, don't hesitate to reach out. We have many, many first-time presenters that have presented on a variety of community calls. We even have a buddy system that will pair you up with someone on if you are a little nervous about it being your first time. So mention that in the notes. Say, I've never presented before, I really want to, but I would love to be paired up with someone else that could assist me. And we'll work together with you in making sure that you're fully prepared, confident, ready to present your first ever demo, and we'll do it together. This is one big community, so we want to make sure that everyone is welcome and empowered to do that. So don't hesitate to reach out, share this link. You see anybody on Twitter, share it. In LinkedIn, your community, your work, anywhere, share it with anyone and everyone, because we really want everyone to be part of the community call as much as they can. Another program that I'm starting is office hours. So as the Powerapps Community Program Manager, I want this to be an open relationship, open door. Absolutely welcome everyone and anyone to reach out to me with feedback, questions, ideas. You want to brainstorm on something. I have created a Microsoft Bookings calendar that allows you to go in and select from a collection of time that's available that is tied to my calendar in 15 or 30-minute increments. I want to empower everyone in the community to do more. And maybe that's, hey, I'm just new to the community. I'd like to know where to get started. Hey, I've been in the community and I've got some ideas that I'd love to provide to you to help make it better. Don't hesitate to reach out. Absolutely open door. Absolutely want to meet with everyone and anyone that wants to have a voice and be part of this community. So please take advantage of this. I absolutely am in love with collaboration, co-presenting, working with others. Don't hesitate to reach out. I absolutely want to hear from everyone and anyone on all of the ideas that you have that's going to make this community better. So definitely check out that link, share it with others if you think that they want to get involved. Again, we are one big community family, and so I want it to feel like that. With that, there's some additional new initiatives and programs that are available to us that you may or may not be familiar with. The first one is Power Platform Samples. Now, this is a sample repository within GitHub that allows you to submit demos and samples that are going to be available to the entire world. And when we say the entire world, literally available from adoption.microsoft.com. All of the samples that are put into this repository are synchronized and syndicated to the adoption.microsoft.com global sample gallery. Now that's awesome because that's going to give you the opportunity to showcase your work. And it also gives Microsoft the ability to celebrate the work that you're doing and all of the amazing things that you're doing within the Power Platform community. So we encourage anyone and everyone to contribute to this repository. You can see more at aka.ms/Power Platform Samples, or you can see the results of it at adoption.microsoft.com by going to the sample gallery. And you can get a direct link to that here in the chat as well, which I put in. Now, you may say, well, that's all well and good. I love Powerapps and Power Platform, but you know what? I don't really have any experience with GitHub. We've got you covered. There is a program in the community called Sharing is Caring. This is a program that is set up to provide you hands-on guidance. Now, safe space opportunities, these are live sessions that we will walk you through how to accomplish a variety of things. You can see some of the upcoming session topics that are available. The highlighted one, of course, that's applicable here is Power Platform Samples, first-time contributor. We will walk you through from beginning to end how to submit a sample through GitHub. So if it's new to you, don't worry. The first time I ever interfaced with GitHub, I think I double checked it 35 times and then I was still worried I was going to make a mistake and everyone is going to see it. Not at all like that. Everyone is welcoming and wants to see the samples provided, but we understand that there are absolutely some times where it might be a little hard to understand that landscape within GitHub when it uses foreign words like fork and raw and blame and pull request. What does all that mean? We are going to walk you through how to understand all that in a live hands-on session. And that literally is a safe space to ask any questions. We don't record the sessions. We want you to come, feel part of it, feel empowered to learn, and be confident in leaving those sessions being able to go out right away and submit a sample. And then as those samples are submitted, as mentioned, they get syndicated to the adoption.microsoft.com site and shared with the entire world. So it's an excellent opportunity. The next Power Platform Contributor Sharing is Caring session is May 9th. You can go sign up for that today and you'll get an invite for that. And again, safe space opportunities. And that's not all. If you call now, we're going to celebrate all of the work you're doing. Now, the Community Recognition Program you may have heard of, but let me tell you a little bit about it. It's powered by Credly, and you may say, what the heck, Credly sounds familiar. It is the same system that runs the Microsoft certification badges. So if you've seen and or gotten a Microsoft certification and got a badge for that, these badges are powered by the same organization, which is Credly, which means that they're going to sit right alongside your other badges. They're provided to you for the work that you do in the community. And you can see that we already have a Power Contributor badge, Independent Publisher Connector badge, Sharing is Caring badge, and a variety of other badges. These are official, accredited, fully backed by Credly, so that means you can associate them to your LinkedIn profile. You can share them with your clients. You can share them with your managers. And I come from a consulting background, so I get it. You want an edge that's going to show that you're engaged in the community. Whether you're an MVP, a contributor, a super user, no matter what you are, we want to celebrate and recognize you in a way that gives you the ability to show that all the awesome work that you've been doing. And this is really what this program has been set up for. It is no cost, absolutely zero cost. We cover any of the costs for you as part of the community. We do need you to opt in though, and you can do that at aka.ms/M365PnP-recognition. And we'll use that information to track all of the work that you're doing. In fact, our presenters today are going to get a badge for presenting. And so really when you go through the extra effort to give back to the community, we want to celebrate that and we want to recognize it. And so we absolutely want you to opt into this program. It's a way to set yourself apart, show off all the awesome work that you're doing in the community to anyone that you feel will appreciate it, and add it to your resume, to LinkedIn, and share it on Twitter. Let others know that we're here to celebrate the work that you're doing and really here to thank you. So very, very excited for this. All right. That's a lot of change, right? There is a whole host of things that I just covered. I want to take a minute, and we only have a couple minutes because we don't want to eat into the amazing presenters we have today. But is there any questions that you have? Feel free to come off of mute, raise your hand if you have a question, and we can call on you. If not, you can ask in the chat. That's okay too. But we want this to be an inclusive opportunity for everyone to get involved. It's okay if you don't. This is being recorded, right? So sometimes you're like, oh, I'll ask later. All right. David Scott, go ahead, come off mute.
Yeah, thanks. So just a quick question we have a little community that we're working with, and one of the challenges that we came up with yesterday that was brought forward was just trying to set up a Canvas app to connect to a document library in SharePoint. So we want to be able to modify, the metadata and things like that in the list or as part of the document library list, but there doesn't seem to be an easy way to connect up a Canvas app to a document library. We know you can do it with a list, but it seems like all the research we found is you have to set up a Power Automate routine on the back end, which seems very complicated and complex for something that should be fairly simple to do.
Okay, great. I tell you what, let me sync up with you. Why don't you use that chat with David link and connect with me, and we'll talk about that offline, just because that'll probably be a much larger conversation, and or we can address it in the chat as well. Thank you for that. Excellent. Tracy, do you have a question?
Hi, yeah, I do. So one thing that we're doing, we've written quite a few apps that deal with a lot of data, bringing it into just the regular Canvas app, and to get around the 2,000 record limit, we're using stored procedures to call and return these data sets back. One thing we noticed, that one reason why we went that direction too was whenever we run the filter command and we run the tracer out of the analytic tool of Powerapps, when you analyze and look at the actual select statements that are being passed through when you're using a filter, we notice it's using a top command, like select top. And we're noticing massive performance issues when using the filter. And that's another reason why we went the direction of using stored procedures to return these HTTP response data sets. Is there any way or any reason why Powerapps is using a select top and not a select top?
Excellent question. Let's also table that one, just because again, these are probably going to be larger conversations than the couple of minutes that we have. And I apologize, maybe I was not clarified or I didn't clarify. Is there any questions and answers on kind of the changes that we made so far? We're going to have an opportunity to have open forums like this, Q&As, AMAs, in fact, that's part of the plan as well. And so I think those kinds of technical questions are going to be fantastic for that, and we're going to welcome them with open arms. But in terms of some of the changes that we've just announced, we're looking more for like the Q&A questions around that. Any questions around that? Craig.
Thanks, David. So definitely excited about, it's branching out and changing. I would say the other thing I want to just kind of make sure of is not to since we're branching and getting deeper, not to forget the power user. Mm-hmm. So just from, you know that I attend the Office 365 monthly or weekly meeting, just comparing the two, that one's very heavy, more to like IT, more in depth where you got to be admin stuff. One suggestion I'd have, at least here, since we're branching out and doing more 3 different presenters, maybe also including like what level that topic's going to be and which group it's going to be focused on. Because if all of a sudden we're talking about premium or we're talking about admin center stuff, then I can't do any of that.
Sure.
So it's going to be like, okay, I can learn about it, but I can't touch it. So have that clarification, like what levels are those illustrations going to be? Because for a lot of time, our stuff has been pretty heavy where power users, everybody can kind of do it.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Great feedback. Thanks, Craig. Yep. And I think that's important, with the wider spectrum of the full power platform, it's going to be a wide array. So I think it's important that we're going to try to include demonstrations that are going to be applicable to everyone. Not everyone's going to love every presentation, right? Some may be an area that is not your area of passion, but it'll be valuable to see the different areas as well. So we're not going to be tunnel visioned into a specific technology. That's why we're expanding the scope of this, so that there is a wider spectrum of opportunity to learn for us all. And also, we'll talk about, there's other community calls that you may have seen as well. The Microsoft 365 platform community is also one that's going to start having a focus on Power Platform. And again, didn't want to throw too much at everyone right now, but we're going to see more of a focus there as well. So thank you all for the feedback and the questions. It's great. Keep them coming in the chat, and then utilize these new resources and tools to show your interest in presenting. Reach out and ask questions. Please don't hesitate at all. All right. So in the interest of time, let's.
I don't know if you have it in your form that you have us fill out for presentations, but you might want to add like an option so that we can pick like what level it is. Like if it's power user, IT, beginner.
Sure.
Just a suggestion.
Okay, thanks, Craig. Yeah,
thanks,
we'll look at that. We have the different technologies, and you'll see that, but the descriptions will help too. So definitely be verbose on those descriptions as you put them in and describe what it is that you're going to present on. We'll reach out to you. There'll be a communication as well. It's not like we're just going to take your information and then all of a sudden you show up on the call. We're like, so present so and so. No, there'll be a collaboration, and we'll be all working together on that. So
I'll catch some time with you too. Like I chatted with you this week already, and I
absolutely
talk some more.
Awesome. And that's open for everyone. So thank you. All right. So what are some community event opportunities? Well, of course, there is the wearePowerAddicts.com, the Hangout. So don't hesitate to take advantage of that. This is a fantastic initiative. We also are all excited about the Empower Everyone Conference, the Power Platform Conference that is going to take place in September, the first, in fact, in the US, I believe, that's covering and focusing on just Power Platform. So that's exciting. In fact, the community call for speakers just opened. So take a look at that as well. You can get that directly from the website, that link, and we'll paste it in the chat here as well. There's the Low Code Revolution, which is hosted by April. So we all love April. She's amazing, and we want to support that Low Code Revolution as well. So please don't hesitate to check that out. Now, we've got some recent news that we're going to cover, and for that, I'm going to hand it over to April. She's going to cover that today.
Thank you, David. I will go through this fast in the interest of time. So just a few things that we wanted to highlight here. So all of these announcements that we're covering were in the latest Wave release notes. So if you just Google or Bing Power Platform release notes, you'll see the Wave one that was just announced last week or 2 weeks ago. So first one is the undo button for Power Automate. I am very happy about this one. So in the session of editing your flow, we now have a handy undo button. So if you accidentally delete a condition that has 18, 20, 50, 100 steps in it, you don't have to recreate that from scratch. You can just click undo and get all of your changes back. So this is only in the session though. So if you save your flow and exit, that's not going to get you out of that bind. But if you remember that you deleted something, we'll have an undo button. So that's really cool. I'm seeing it in my tenant. So I'm thinking I think April was the target. So hopefully by the end of the month, everyone should be seeing that change. Keeping with the Power Automate theme, data editor improvements. So if we've ever had to do a filter query, say in the SharePoint action here to get items, you know that it's a big pain to remember the syntax. Is it EQ for equals? Is it equals? What is it? Now we're going to have a format very similar to what we have when we're doing our conditions, right? It's just a drop down. So we can do our filter queries and this field greater than or equal to, and then we can put in our expressions and everything still on the side. So again, very excited about this one as well. Going to really help makers be able to do these complex filter queries much easily now. Now, Powerapps, what are some few key announcements here? There's a new Windows application for Powerapps. So this is all available in the Windows App Store now. So if you haven't already, go and download it. Why would we want to use a Windows app for our Powerapps instead of just going in the browser like we always do on our desktop devices? Well, it supports offline on the desktop. So if you need an offline, truly offline capable app on your desktop applications, not just your mobile apps like we've did traditionally, now that supports that, and it supports native device capabilities. So if you want to do barcode scanning, any of those, camera controls, all of that on your laptop, we can do that now if you're using this brand new Windows app. So it shows up all the apps from your environments in my testing. There's no filter for environments yet, so you're going to have to search through all of your applications at the moment. But this is the first release, so we'll see what happens. New Power Automate pane. I think we all saw this announcement. Tasha Scott released a blog post about this, I think yesterday. So we can now edit our Power Automate flows inside of Powerapps much more easily. So we can see flows that are already created. We can edit existing flows, and we have a create new flow button. Everyone I know has been waiting for this for a long time. So we have that brand new experience released out there and ready to use today. Super excited about this one as well. And the other big announcement is wrap for Powerapps. So being able to take our Canvas applications and custom brand those and put those on your Android as native Android and iOS devices to be deployed through some kind of mobile device management system. So, whether it's Microsoft or whatever mobile device management system you're using, we can now wrap our Canvas applications in that to deploy them kind of more as native apps. So another big thing that's been really exciting, and a lot of people have been waiting for that. So those are the big announcements that we wanted to highlight there and we can again catch all of those in the latest release notes.
Awesome. Thank you, April. Well, friends, I'm not sure how many of you are comfortable or familiar with this, I should say, but let's do some picture time together. This has been an awesome thing for the community to do. So if you are comfortable turning on your camera, sharing with the community, we will give a recording of this. Let's wave to the community now. I think we could fit about 50 in. I see everybody turning on. And let me move this over so we can see that. All right, looking great. Let's give that nice big, and I'll set up the recording here. All right, I think we got it filled in really fast. Maybe one more seat. Start the recording. All right, let's everybody give some waves to the community. It's awesome, love it. Fantastic. I see some bears in there. Some smiles. Looking great, everybody. Excellent. Really, really great. This is awesome. All right, let's move over now. I'm going to hand the spotlight to Todd, and he's going to introduce our amazing presenters for the day.
Thanks, David. So as usual, everybody, we have people from all over the world joining us in the community call today. So today we welcome Rachel and Hugo. Thanks for being here, and welcome both of you. Rachel lives in Nigeria, all the way over in Africa. Well, for me, that's all the way over in Africa, maybe not for folks who live closer to there. And Hugo lives up in Canada. And everyone hosting the call here today is spread out all over the United States. So I see friends from all over the world in chat here today, and many of them have joined the call too. So welcome. Thank you, everybody. It's really fun to be part of our global community. So to get started, Rachel has created a customer inventory and daily expenses app for a laundry company in Nigeria. And so this app reduces paperwork and also allows employees to see a customer's history and track the daily expenses. So we're really looking forward to seeing how she built this on the Power Platform. And then right after that, in keeping with our new Power Platform community call theme, Hugo has a great introduction to Powerapps portals for us today. So I can't wait to see that as well. But first things first, let's get started with Rachel's demo. Rachel, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Todd.
I have a question for you. I always like to ask this to folks on the call. How long did it take you to build this particular Powerapps solution that you created?
Okay, it actually took me a day, but I recently worked on it again because I improved in what I knew, so I had to work on it again.
We can see your screen now.
Okay, great. My name is Rachel Rabo. I'm from Nigeria. I'm currently studying industrial mathematics at the University of Benin. I started my journey in Power Platform after a boot camp was held last year, October, by David Abu. And since then, I've been practicing and learning on Power Platform. And recently, I started volunteering in Power Platform, started holding spaces on Twitter to bring awareness to others who have not heard about Power Platform and to bring more people into the space and see what they can do with Power Platform. So I had an issue recently with lights. Most of the time we have in Nigeria here, we have issues with lights. So I went to a laundry company close to my house to charge my phone. And I noticed the processes they use in entering their data and their services. So I decided to create an app to be able to reduce paperwork and to give the manager the ability to be able to see each, because it's mostly not around, to be able to see each records that's of the customer services that's made in a day. And they also have they have different notes in their company to be able to keep records, to keep track of their expenses, the expenses made in a day, either for fuel or for maybe buying of soap and other things. So I created an app to be able to resolve this issue. The processes. So the tools I used in creating this app was Dataverse. Dataverse is used as a primary database for holding the data and also to connect to the app. And I used Powerapps to create a two screen, one for the customer's inventory and one for the daily expenses. Then I used the Power Automate to be able to send a push notification to the manager each time a data is recorded. What the full solution does for the customers is that they can be added when they have a new employee or an employee working in the company. They can add that person to the environment as a user, and it can be able to access this app on their phones and be able to record every expenses that is made in a day and for the customers. So they actually have access to the app. And they can still be able to, like, they have a note. If they have a note and the note gets missing or it gets torn, they get missing data and they're not able to keep track of their expenses made in a day. So with the app, they're able to get both data and able to record their expenses. So, and it also helps in resolving the issues of buying notes and getting maybe missing notes. Maybe they kept the notes, maybe an employee kept the notes somewhere and another day maybe that employee does not come to work and they have to find that note. It reduces that problem. So you can find me on Twitter at Rachel for Love and LinkedIn, Rachel Rabo. So for the app, my network is low, so I actually recorded the app. I created the app before, but I noticed recently that there are some issues I had to resolve, especially here on the screen, the laundry app, the home screen. I changed the customer and expenses button. I brought it down instead of leaving it at the up. Then I changed the picture, the background image from fill to fit. Then you can see the app on the customer screen. I actually added a function to the delete icon that it shows you that if you are sure of being able to, showing you that if you are sure of whether you want to delete the app or not. Then I added a new function to the other screen, which is the daily expenses screen. For the same function that the daily expenses screen is used to record expenses made in a day, their daily expenses, either the soap, fuel, and other things. And I added a delete because most of the time they might make a mistake and click on the delete button. So they have easy access to be able to know that they can able to click on if they are sure or not, which reduces this risk. And I added a push notification from Power Automate. Sorry, I did not record it here. I added a push notification from Power Automate that every time a record is added, the manager gets a push. The manager gets a notification on his app in his phone. Then for the app, I worked on the icons. I recently watched a video on YouTube and they talked about users experience. So I actually worked on the icons because they were too big. The edit icon, the delete icon, and the refresh. I worked on them. Yeah, that's all. Any questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat for you, but a lot of people, including myself, think it's pretty awesome that just 6 months ago you got started with this technology and now you're building apps and teaching other people how to do it, which is really amazing. That shows off yourself and the Power Platform, I think, both get a compliment from that, which is really cool. How many people use your app? Is it a single user or multiple people?
Okay, no, there are actually 4. I actually built a demo for the manager first to look through the app if he wanted it. Then I created a Microsoft 365 developer account for them. Then I added the users, the employees to the environment and built an app for them. And they all have access to it.
Awesome. That's great. It's fun to see how you can take such a simple app and solve a problem with it so quick. We see apps like that many different times on the call here as well. Are you sharing your app anywhere, or maybe not because you developed it for a client? Sometimes people open source things they have. I'm just curious.
Okay, I'm not. I just started, so I don't know if I could. I'm taking it step by step. I don't know if I could actually share it. Yeah. No
problem. Sometimes folks already have their app up on GitHub or something like that, and they can share it and show other people how they built it. Just curious. Well, thank you very much. I hope you come join us again sometime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us over to learning about Powerapps portals with Hugo today. Hugo, welcome. And thanks for coming to join us too today.
Thank you. It's kind of stressful to be presenting after Rachel. How about everyone give a good hand for Rachel? This was amazing. It's always inspiring to see people in the community creating awesome apps like this. And that's really what this platform is about, right? To be able to not have to be a pro dev, to be able to develop applications and make a difference. And that's really what I want to talk about today. My name is Hugo Bernier. I'm a senior cloud solution architect at Microsoft, and I like to call myself the world's laziest developer as well. I was formerly an MVP, and but now my role at Microsoft is to help customers who have already bought licenses for the Power Platform to make the most of the platform and to use the technologies that they already have to the best of their abilities. And one of the things that I see all the time is people don't seem to know how to leverage portals. And I think historically, right, portals were maybe not priced in a way that was appealing to customers and things like that. But a lot has changed over the last little while. And it's really important to take a look at portals. And let me give you some scenarios. The first thing is, let's talk about kind of where the portals fit, right? It's a great way for you to extend the reach of your Power Platform infrastructure. So instead of having to build a separate app, to be able to, let's say, talk to your maybe your employees that don't have an Active Directory account. Like I'm thinking of, let's say, a retailer who have people on the floor, the store floor, right, or the manufacturers who have people on the factory floor who don't necessarily have an email address, but they still need to be able to have access to information. Or maybe you're dealing with partners or suppliers. Or maybe we're talking about customers. Or if you're a government agency or municipality, imagine if you could actually expand the reach of your Powerapps to your constituents, right? So that I can go in and report a pothole in my street or do things like that. And that's really where kind of portals come in handy, is that it allows you to really create a secure gateway to your Dataverse environment and to your Powerapps portals, but extend the reach to way more than just your employees. Now, you can still let your employees use portals, and we'll definitely talk about that. But it's more about that power to be able to reach to a whole new audience. And so, for the Microsoft 365 conference in Vegas a few weeks ago, David, Chris Kent, and I we built a fictitious company, and we called it the Normal Company Inc. So this is totally a legit company. They say they totally don't do covert operations, and they recently expanded their operations and decided to outsource a lot of their missions. Services to independent contractors who might need to be able to communicate securely with the company, with the totally normal company. But of course, they don't want to use email because that's probably not the most secure way to do this. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to build a kind of special covert assignment management system, version 1, because one of the things that we want to do when we're building Powerapps in the Power Platform is we want to iterate quickly. Right, the value of being able to work hand in hand or closely with the business stakeholders and the people who understand the business, and to iterate rapidly and say, how about this? Do you like this better? And delivering that and then innovating on that and improving on that rapidly. That's really one of the strengths here of the Power Platform, and we can definitely do that with portals. So today what we're going to do is we're going to build a quick app. Let's see how we're doing for time. Yeah, we're going to build an app that's used by the freelancers. So people who are not directly employed by the totally normal company. They are not employees. They don't have Active Directory accounts, and they don't have access to Powerapps, right? And we're not going to be inviting them as guests to our Powerapps. We want to create something that is very secure and that doesn't require us to open our internal network. Now, the first thing we're going to do as part of this app is we're going to view my covert assignments. I'm going to log in. I'm going to be able to see my assignments. And then later what we're going to do in separate sessions, we're going to continue adding more functionality. So first of all, I'm going to be able to go and mark my assignments as completed. So in other words, edit the data that's in Dataverse. I'm going to be able to learn some tips and tricks from the field, request some equipment, view my briefing dossier. So actually seeing files that are stored associated to a record in a secure way. And those files might be stored in SharePoint. We're going to upload proof of completion and that's also going to go to a secure file. Going to rate my assignment. I have a little star system like we have on Uber for my my contractors. Submit an extensive report, RSVP to the company picnic, request to talk to a field support agent, maybe even talk to a chat bot, and request exfiltration as well as ordering disguises, right? So pretty much giving all the tools that someone needs in their field, in this case for the agents here, to be able to actually do their job. And so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start by leveraging existing infrastructure that we have. So the first key to building a successful portal app is to build on top of your model-driven app. And because portals use actually your Dataverse environment to store things like users, content, and things like that. So the first thing that I did here is I built a solution, right? Because we all know building a solution is a great thing to do. It makes it easy for you to deploy your solution. So my first solution I built is called the Special Covert Assignment Management System. And let's go. I've created a table that's just assignments. Let's go add some columns to that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a column to keep track of which contractor is assigned to an assignment. And I don't know if there's a better way to describe this, but that's what we're going to do. And the one thing we have to understand is when we're dealing with portal users, they're actually contacts. They're not users, because in Dataverse, a user is really intended to be an employee, a licensed user, right? So external participants are still uniquely identified, but they're identified as contacts. And so this is what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a contractor field that's going to be pointing to my contacts. If I can find contacts, there you go. I'm going to make this a required field. And we'll just put a little description here. The one thing, as you know, when you're building a Dataverse table, you always want to use the most English, well, not English, but user-friendly, human legible names for columns. Don't resist the temptation of creating column names like you would create a database system, right? Because your users are going to be able to use these names to build reports and to build forms and to build queries and things like that. All right. We're going to add a little bit more fields here super quickly. So we're going to add a deadline, right? And it's going to be a date and time. So it needs to be done by this time. We're also going to add a location. So this is where this mission should be performed. And sounds like we're making lunch. And we're also going to go add some column about whether the mission is accomplished or not. And that's going to be yes, no. Now, some of you who are Dataverse experts might say, hey, wait a minute, you should probably use the status and status reason. I agree with you, but we'll evolve that solution quickly around doing that. All right, so then we'll also go build an app, right? So now, what we have to remember is in the Power Platform, we want to be able to create an app for our internal users. And so for that, I'm going to create a model-driven app. And I'm just going to call this, again, we're going to call this the assignment management system, right? So let's just quickly do that. Having issues with my keyboard today, so whatever, right? The special covert assignment systems, assignment management. And that's going to be the app that my internal employees are going to be using to manage these assignments and to manage my operatives out there and things like that. We're going to be leveraging a lot of this, by the way, for our portal, right? But it's important. This is something that I see a lot of people having difficulties with. It's important to understand the difference between the internal app and the portal app. And what we have to think about is the portal is really just a different channel by which you can connect to the data. So here I'm going to add my assignments to my portal and to my app. So there you go. And we're also going to add my contacts. Right, and we'll use the contacts later, but the contacts obviously are going to be the operatives that are going to be logging into the portal. And then I'll just clean up a little bit here. So I'll clean up the operations group. And so now I have kind of an app that I can start using, right? Now, what we'll also do is we'll go to create some forms. So let's go to my tables, my assignments, and let's go build a form here. Now, typically when you have a model-driven app, you have a form that you want to use for at least one main form, right, that you use for importing the data. And so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm just going to lay out something really quickly here. I'm not trying to make this pretty. We'll definitely improve on that later. But I'm adding all the fields that I need as a person who's managing these operations. Now, here's the trick, is that to feed your portal, one of the things you can do is you can add another form. Now, some people will share forms. You'll use the same form over and over again for both portal users and internal users. I would always recommend create a form that's dedicated, or at least one form that's dedicated for your portal. So here, I always like to call them portal, right? When I can type portal form, yeah. And then the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the fields that the users don't need to see, right, in the portal. So for example, the users don't need to see the owner. I'm going to hide it. We'll talk about it later, but it's a required field, so I can't really remove it from the form quite yet. The contractor, it's always going to be me as the current logged in user, so I don't really need to see that as well. And then maybe we can clean this up a little bit and kind of create a little section here for whether the mission is completed or not. Let's just skip forward on that because we want to get to the portal, right? All right, so now I've got my solution that's built. I've got my app. And if I launch my app, this is the app internally that I'm going to use. Actually, I'm going to skip forward here. I'm going to go to portals right away because we're running out of time. So let's build a portal. Now, the portal is going to be built like we did a model-driven app or like we did a Canvas app. A portal, again, is just a front end on top of that data. So I'm going to call my portal here normal company assignment, maybe dev here. And then when you build your portals, you want to give it a unique address. Now, later you'll have the ability to go change the URL for your portal. But right now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have at least something that allows us to work with that portal quickly. Now, this is the part where it'll tell you portal provisioning is in progress. This is the opportunity to go make yourself some coffee, go get your stuff from the microwave, because it's going to take a little bit of time. Because what it's doing behind the scenes is it's actually completely creating database schema in your Dataverse to support things like pages, navigation, users, portal users, and things like that. Now, luckily, I was able to record this and fast forward this for you. So now this is kind of the out-of-box portal, right, that gets created. And out of the box, you get pages and subpages, and you get the ability for you to be able to sign in and do things like that. It's kind of boring, right? Let's actually do a little bit more of that. So the first thing I can do is I can actually go and edit the portal. So now you do that through the context menu, the three dots, and you go click on edit. And here I get the page. And this is like a what you see is what you get experience. So the great thing about that is there's different sections that we can go through, and I'll quickly go through, but we'll come back at a later session where we're going to cover the other sections. So we have, the page navigation. I've got the theming that allows me to change quickly the color scheme for the portal. I got some templates, some permissions, and I can even build some PWAs for portable web apps, right, which is very cool. But let's start with just editing the content of the page itself. So let's do that. So anywhere where you see text, if it's created as a placeholder text, I can actually just go edit it as what you see is what you get experience, right? So here, I'm going to call this the normal company. Yeah, there you go. Now, one of the things that you'll see later is that the portal uses reusable snippets. So there's parts where maybe the company name is probably not something we want to go and replace everywhere, right? We probably want to point to a central place where the company name is used. And that's something that we'll cover a later time. But here I can go to a section and I can completely edit the section here. So let me just go through my section. And because this is a totally legit corporation that doesn't do covert operations, we're just going to put some nice, generic corporate imagery here. And then we just say we get the job done, right? Now, you'll notice that the color scheme is not quite there yet, and we'll come back and fix that. But the idea here is that I should be able to focus on the content, the structure, without worrying about things like cascading style sheets and JavaScript and HTML, right? Because again, this is supposed to be a maker platform. All right, so let's fast forward a little bit because we want to get to the good stuff. So I can change the color scheme here. And then let's actually go to create a page here. So I'm going to create a page that is called My Assignments. And the page, I'm actually going to mark it as not anonymous. So that means that for me to get to this page, I need to actually log in. Now, the out-of-the-box portal actually allows you to register, to redeem an invitation, so you can associate an existing contact to a link. You can connect to Azure AD, or you can register through a custom email address. So I'm just going to quickly kind of register myself here as a user. Obviously, in the real world scenario, I probably wouldn't want my agents to be able to register themselves on the fly like this, but this is just to set up the demo, okay? So I'll register, and I can provide additional information here. Now, the one thing we could do here is we could absolutely customize that profile experience here. So I wanted to capture, what's your area of specialty as a contractor. Let's capture a field that does that. For now, I'm just going to fast forward on that. All right, now, again, let's talk about that authentication experience, because if you think about it, again, I don't really want anybody to just go into my super secret system. So this is where I can go to the settings of the portal, and I can actually override the authentication settings. And here I have the ability to pick from a whole bunch of authentication providers, and I can actually change some settings, like things like whether I want to allow people to register. It looks like it's taking longer. Register, log in with an external user ID and password, or require an email address to be unique. Right, so we'll skip that for now, and we're going to, and the thing is, as you can see, as I'm here, I'm going to go and disable some features. So for example, here I'm going to say, I don't want to have Azure Active Directory enabled. My users are not going to be employees of the system. So I can actually just go here, disable that authentication. And when I go back to the portal and refresh, we're going to see that the sign-in page is actually changing accordingly. Come on. All right, let's fast forward on that. So when I go sign in, Active Directory is not coming, should not show up, right? So we can continue to expand this, but let's get to the juicy bits now. Okay, so I've got my portal. I'm going to go to edit it again. Now I'm going to go to, because remember, this portal, the goal is for me to see my assignments. And portals shouldn't allow everyone to see everything that's in my Dataverse environment. So I can go to my table permissions here, and you'll see that by default, I have permission to just provide feedback. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new permission. And I always like to call my permissions in a very, self-documented way. So I want to be able to view and update my assignments. Because remember, I'm going to be able to mark my assignment as completed. I'm going to pick the table, which is called assignments. So if I look for that, assignments, there you go. And then the access type, global access would mean everyone has access to every record. We got contact access, which is my records where I'm associated to it. And then we got things like account access, where I can actually view the records that are associated to me and my company. So here, I'm picking the relationship that says that this assignment is associated to me as a contractor. I'm going to say I want to be able to read and write. I could also do things like append and append to, which we'll need later when we're adding notes and attachments and things like that. And then I'll say this is only for people who are authenticated, right? I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have something like this that's not authenticated. All right, we're almost there. So once I've got this, I can actually go and let's just go create some assignments here. And let's actually, what I'm going to do is I've got a whole bunch of assignments I've created, and I've created for different people, right? So I've got 3 assignments that are assigned to me. And then what I can do now is I can actually go to my assignments page, and the part that I skipped here, I'll come back to it, is I was able to actually drop my assignments list directly on the page where I can see that. So let me show you that. I've got 2 minutes. I can make this happen. So if I go to my one more, cool, there you go. So if I go to my assignments now, come on, you can make it happen. All right, there you go. Okay, so I've got my assignments table here that's created. I've got my solution that's built, and I got all my objects that are set up. Now, if I created a view, that allows me to view more details about the assignment. The cool thing about that is when I build the view, I'm able to take advantage again of all that work that I've done in my Dataverse environment and put that into my portal, right? So this is not like a separate system. This is just a separate channel that gives me access into my Dataverse environment. All right, so if I fast forward on this, I'll add some columns here. So when it's completed, whether it's completed and stuff like that, do that quickly. And then when I go and refresh my page and I say I want to show my portal assignments instead of my active assignments, and I save that and I browse to the website, what we should see is now I have, come on, don't make me a liar. There you go. I now have my updated assignments. Now, that was super quick, right? We did that in, I mean, behind the scenes, I did this in less than an hour from nothing. Next steps, when we meet again, we're going to show you how to start editing the records, add logic to validate that people are not putting bad data, but also we're going to do things like store documents, store pictures, you know, the ability to have notes, even use things like chatbot and things like that. So if you want to get started with using Powerapps portals, you can go to this URL here. And I do have a slide on licensing if you want to take a screenshot of that. And we will definitely make this presentation available with no fast forward. Awesome. That's it for me today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Hugo. You answered the only question that popped up in the chat that was out there. That's cool. I like how you use the video to do it. That way you leave nothing to chance. Great idea. So you said it took less than an hour for you to stand that whole thing up, brand it, and make all those different pages, put all that functionality in there that was on your slide decks, huh?
Yeah. In fact, when I work with customers, I'll often do this live with them in the space of an hour workshop. We're like, okay, let's build this, right? Mm-hmm. But again, it's about leveraging the work you've done with the model-driven apps. That's really, don't reinvent the wheel. Leverage what you've got. Focus on the value-added stuff. And that's where you're going to be able to deliver value quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a great story. Get somebody started in 1 hour, and then they can just start building on top of what you gave them, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Awesome. Looking forward to seeing the next part of your presentation there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that brings us close to the end of our call today. Beyond the slide that Hugo just shared with how to learn more about Powerapps portals there, in general, these are some great resources that we like to share every month. So there's training resources here. You can get links to things going on in the community, different videos, Rory's Power Platform Learn resources, third to the bottom there. If y'all haven't seen that, the last time I saw it, he had over 200 videos, little piecemeal how to do this and that in Powerapps. Incredible way to get started. The samples that were talked about earlier. And then, boy, I think that Create SharePoint list got left over from a month before, but that's okay. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our call today then. So we'd like to say thank you to every one of you for being here today, whether you were helping host the call or produce the call behind the scenes or just an attendee or a presenter, whatever it is. It takes all of us to make this call awesome every month. So thank you. The recording will be available soon on the Microsoft 365 Community PnP channel. You can see the link right there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Microsoft 365 Dev or M365 PnP, where we announce the call and tweet out recordings of it and whatnot. You can see the link at the bottom, aka.ms Powerapps Community Call. That's the link for right now, and it will take you to where you can learn more about the call and get your meeting invite. We will be updating it in the future and to reflect now it's the Power Platform Community Call, but this link will stay in place and just redirect you to the right place going forward. So thanks again, everybody. We will see you on May 18th at 8 a.m. Pacific time next month. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.